hello there, YouTube. Born to be Wild NE here. And as always, NE stands for Nebraska. Go Big Red J Huskers. It is Monday, the 31st of January, 2022. Forecasted high in Lincoln today is 60. So guess what? January is not going to skunk me. I'm out for a ride. Not a very fancy ride, mind you. As you can see, I'm on 4-lane divided highway. Heading up north about 80 minutes. Visit my sister and brother-in-law for a few minutes before turning around and coming back home to Lincoln. Sunset is at 5:21, so I should be home before sunset. Temperatures should still be in the 50s by that time of the day. So we'll get some fresh gas in her and put her back in the garage for who knows how long. Next few days we're supposed to get some bitterly cold temps, including, I think, overnight lows of -0, or below 0, I should say, Fahrenheit. But the in-building garage stays above freezing, and she stays plugged into a battery tender. I probably should make a mental note of that. This is probably her original battery, and this July I will have had her for 4 years. She's a 2017, so if I do embark on a big trip later this year, I should probably start with a new battery, just to be on the safe side. Makes some sense to me anyway. I could take the battery tender with me and keep her plugged in whenever I'm camping with electricity. That's just another extra thing to pack. The one I have is not very big, or heavy, so it's really not too big a deal, but if I'm going to be gone for 45 days or whatever it might be, I probably want to pack just the essentials. I will have 1 or 2 oil changes if I do the trip that I am planning. And 1 or 2 tire changes. So we shall see what we shall see. I guess this stretch of the road isn't quite so fast, John. You should slow down a little bit. Cruise control is acting up. Has been for a while, to be truthful. I have noticed a pattern. If the orange light flashes, then I can't set it. But if I stop, turn off the bike, and take out the key from the ignition, and then start it up again and press it, then it stays steady, and I can set my cruise control. So it's kind of weird. If I stop it but don't take the ignition out, sometimes it works, but most of the time it doesn't. I need to take the key out of the ignition. I think I may have messed that up just a bit ago, but you get the drift. The key out of the ignition. That must reset some kind of circuitry that lets the cruise control activate properly the next time I start up the bike. So it shouldn't be a fuse problem, it shouldn't be a sensor problem. Well, I suppose if there's a sporadic problem in the sensor, but some kind of sensor, I don't know. But it is peculiar. Just made a bypass of Wahoo, Nebraska. Wahoo enjoyed a little bit of infamy when David Letterman had his show still active. Changed this intersection. They must have been having some accidents on it. That used to be all 4 lanes going through each way and at the faster speed. North-south traffic has a stop sign, or east-west traffic doesn't. So if east-west traffic is going at a good clip and the north-south person doesn't judge the distance properly at night or in impaired visibility, don't know. But the state has definitely changed that intersection in the last few months. You used to have to go through Wahoo till they put the bypass in a few years back. I often wonder what impact a bypass has for a smaller town like Wahoo. Gas stations, Dairy Queens, fast food restaurants. I think they have a Burger King and a Dairy Queen and a Runza. If you're not from this area, you don't know what Runza is, but if you are curious, you can Google Runza restaurants. R-U-N-Z, as in zebra, A. They're pretty good. When I had family living in Kentucky, whenever I drove out to visit, I got some frozen Runzas and kept them frozen on the trip stock their freezer with frozen runzas and eat them at their leisure. Frozen runzas and frozen Valentino's pizza. Another Nebraska original. Anyway, the bike temperature says 57. I didn't check the temperature for my northern destination, but I'm fine. I don't have my heated grips on. I've got layers on and my non-ventilated riding jacket underneath my jeans, which sit underneath the riding pants, which are ventilated, unfortunately. I have some fleece pants that I got in 1992 to wear on an outward bound corporate team building experience in Joshua Tree National Monument. Backpacking and rock climbing. Really good experience. Since the company was paying for the whole darn thing, I could afford to get some equipment. Had to get some good boots for that trip. It gets cold in the desert and you're sleeping in a backpack, not in a tent, just in a, not in a backpack, in a sleeping bag that you were carrying in your backpack. So you needed some layers even when you were sleeping. If I remember correctly, it was October 1992. And it was a unique feeling in my lifetime. Backing off a tall spire of rock. Trusting the ropes, and then partway down the rock falls away to the end, so you're just hanging in air with nothing to put your feet on. But Outward Bound was very safety conscious. Of course, they had me on a rope and taught me how to use friction to stop my slide down or to slow it, and then open it back up. But then they had us all, when we went down, took our turns. They had us all on a safety rope that they controlled. So if I or one of my partners lost it, or our rope got messed up some way, there was a secondary safety option. So we've had some snow, but mainly just in 2 storms, and the snow on the ground didn't last all that long. We've had some decently warm weather. In the 40s. And I have not felt that I needed to go out and ride in the 40s. But when I saw 60, I said, 55 to 60 I can do. January, you are not going to skunk me. So in December, I rode down into Kansas to a Kansas State Park and camped a couple nights. Faced a bitterly strong north wind on the day I came home. It was pretty cold, and the wind was so strong I was headed straight into it, a huge long segment of the trip, and my gas mileage for that leg dropped by, I think, an estimated 9 miles per gallon or something. It was I was stopping for gas more often than I would have expected. Have to make a left to go west for a few miles. Here at Cedar Bluff, Nebraska. One of many, many small towns. Most of them are getting smaller. World changed on these small towns. The railroad, systems of transportation. $615. So that's not the tiniest of towns. Pretty small. I gotta remember, this is a 45 along here. I don't want to get the small town of Cedar Bluffs any ticket revenue this trip. I don't even know if they have a city policeman, but there could be county policemen also. Just got a few miles to go and then we'll turn north again. Bike still says 57. Feels like there's a pretty strong wind from the south. Maybe not from the south. they had a little bit more snow up here than we did, and they've not had as warm a temps as we have had. They had a little bit more snow in the ditches. Those ditches. Been too long since I've been out on the bike. Live in this part of the country, that's something you just have to learn how to accept. I'm not interested in spending the money for heated gear. So I need to be able to layer. There's a trike. In Lincoln I saw about 4, 5, or 6 bikes out. Since I've hit the highway, I was probably the third person. First trike. The other two were motorcycle 2 wheels. Got my mid-weight insulated Cabela's gloves on. But I have not yet turned on the heated grips. Going home, I might do so. Come out here, I'm in a little bit more of a buffer, so I think it's coming from either the southwest or the south. My left side's getting buffeted pretty good, where my right side doesn't feel any. As far as the old torso goes. I did not put my backpack on the tail, which maybe I should have done. I had taken the rock straps off after my camping trip when I was using them to strap everything on. So I got lazy, I guess. I'll just have to gut it out. No precip at all in the forecast, so my rain gear isn't needed to protect me from that. Bluffs. We are going to ride through a pretty small town. Not too many miles after we make our right turn back to the north. Morse Bluffs. It's at the base of the bluffs that form the southern bank of the Platte River Valley. One of my younger brothers who has lived in southern Florida for many years is moving. Northwestern part of Georgia. In fact, today he is going halfway with a U-Haul behind his pick-em-up truck. And tomorrow he will go the rest of the way. Keeping his condo in southern Florida, Doral, Florida. Clear of gravel. The main highway curves around here. They got this little jog, and I always have to remember to get myself straight here, perpendicular to the road, so I can see oncoming traffic from around that corner. I feel out of practice. Really haven't ridden that much for quite some time. Taking care of my daughter while she was living with me, and then pretty heavy grieving period for an extended period of time. I'm better now. I still miss her and cry every once in a while. Bright little kid, but she got diagnosed at age 12. Played a really good violin, really good piano, was getting involved in some community theater and school level theater. Up a storm qualified for the gifted program in Lincoln Public Schools. So she had a one-on-one mentor in language arts. There, that was Morse Bluffs, and I missed the pop sign. I'll try and get it on the way back, but probably won't be filming on the way back. And these trees are on the southern bank of the Platte River. You can see some sand pits, which are prevalent along the Platte River. The Platte River's got sandbars. That's Nebraska's beaches. Just around this corner, we'll cross the Platte River Bridge. There she is. You'll get to see a little bit of the Platte River. Pretty frozen over. Not be far after this is another town, but it's not as little as, uh-oh, there's a train. That's always a risk on this particular road. Fairly active set of train tracks. So we shall... This is North Bend, Nebraska, the little 9-hole golf course. There's people out golfing. Population 1,213 souls strong when they had to last order a population road sign. Alrighty. I'll spare you the visual and the noise of the train track. Take care, all.